There is a planet you have never seen. Not once, not with your own eyes, not on the clearest night of your life. Every other world in our sky, someone found by looking up. A wandering light the ancients named thousands of years ago. Not this one. Neptune is the only planet we found with a pencil, before anyone found it with a telescope. Mathematicians watched the orbit of Uranus wobble where it shouldn't, worked backward through the equations, and pointed at an empty patch of sky. "Look there," they said. "Something is out there. Something is pulling." And there it was, exactly where the numbers promised. A world at the very edge of the sun's reach, nearly 3 billion miles out. So far that sunlight takes 4 hours to crawl there. So far that the sun isn't really the sun anymore. It's just another star. And out there, in the cold and the dark, on the most starved, forgotten planet we know of, something is screaming. The fastest winds in the entire solar system, faster than the speed of sound, howling across a world that should be too frozen, too far, too dead to power them. Something is happening to Neptune, and by the end of this, you'll know where a dark, freezing planet at the end of everything hides that much fury. But first, let's find out what it would do to you. From a distance, Neptune barely looks real. A deep, glowing, impossible blue, richer than Uranus, the kind of blue that looks less like a planet and more like a held breath. That color is methane, drinking the red light out of what little sun reaches it and throwing back only the cold. And here, the sun is a pinprick, brilliant but tiny. Noon on Neptune is darker than dusk on Earth, 900 times less light than you have ever stood in. Your shadow would be a rumor. It is the most beautiful nothing you will ever fall toward, and it does not wait. The first thing that goes is your breath. There's nothing here to use. Hydrogen, helium, a haze of methane, and not one molecule your body can burn. You'd get maybe 15 seconds of clear thought before the edges start to go dark. But suffocation is slow. Neptune has something faster in mind, because the moment you sink into those clouds, the air comes alive. On Earth, the strongest wind ever recorded barely passed 250 miles an hour, and it erased whole towns. Neptune's winds reach 1,300 miles an hour, well past the speed of sound, rivers of wind that circle the whole planet and never, ever stop. You would not be knocked off your feet. There is nothing to stand on. You would be seized, snapped to that speed in a single instant and torn apart, as if the atmosphere forgot you were ever solid. And riding those winds, the storms. Voyager 2, the only spacecraft ever to come here, swept past in 1989 and saw a dark bruise on the planet's face. A storm the size of the entire Earth. A hole in the clouds where the winds ran fastest of all. They called it the Great Dark Spot. And then a few years later we looked again, and it was gone. No wreckage, no scar, just gone, as if the planet had blinked. New ones opened somewhere else, dark eyes appearing and closing across a face we have laid eyes on exactly once. This is a world that tears itself apart and rebuilds itself in the dark, faster than anything else the sun has ever made, and it never once asked to be watched. And you are still falling, because Neptune, like its pale twin Uranus, has no ground, no surface, no floor, just atmosphere thickening around you, the blue deepening to black, the pressure closing in from every direction at once. And far down, where the crush becomes unthinkable, Neptune does the same impossible thing its twin does. The methane shatters. Its carbon is squeezed into diamond, real diamond, raining down through the black toward the center of the world. So picture where you are, falling through a lightless ocean in a storm of diamonds inside the coldest blue there is. And beneath even that waits a searing sea of water and ammonia, thousands of degrees, crushed as dense as stone. Long before you ever reach it, the heat and the pressure have already taken you apart. So what actually gets you first? The airlessness drops you in seconds, the wind shreds whatever's left, and the deep finishes the sentence. Neptune doesn't have to choose. It never has. And now, the mystery. How does a planet nearly 3 billion miles from the sun, starved of light, colder than almost anywhere a human has imagined standing, blow the most violent winds we have ever found? Here is the secret Uranus doesn't share. Uranus is dead inside. It barely gives off any warmth of its own, but Neptune still burns. Deep in its heart, it pours out more than twice the energy it ever receives from that distant, useless sun. Something down there, the leftover heat of its birth, a slow, endless settling we still don't fully understand, is breathing warmth up from below. That buried furnace is what drives the winds. The faint sunlight never started this storm. The planet did, from the inside. And even that isn't the whole answer. We still cannot fully explain how a world this cold can move its air this fast. We came here once, for a few hours, in 1989. Everything else, we know from mathematics and a single passing glance, just like the pencil that found it. And there's one last thing out here that should stay with you. Neptune isn't alone. It has a great moon, Triton, bright and beautiful, and wrong. Triton orbits backward, against its planet's spin, and a moon doesn't do that if it was born where it circles, which means Triton wasn't. Neptune caught it, reached out with gravity and stole a whole world from the dark beyond, and Triton has been paying for it ever since, because that same grip is still dragging it inward, slowly, patiently. In a few billion years, Triton will drift too close, and Neptune will pull it to pieces, shatter its stolen moon into a bright new ring, the way it does everything else out here, quietly, in the dark, where no one is looking. That's Neptune, the planet we found before we ever saw it. The furnace at the edge of the cold, a world that reached out, took a moon, and is still, even now, slowly tearing it apart. So, could you survive Neptune? The farthest, darkest, most violent planet in the sun's whole family would suffocate you, then break the sound barrier straight through your body, then crush what remained into the diamond dark, out at the very end of the light, where the sun is just a star and no one is watching. You would not survive Neptune. Out here, almost nothing is meant to. And maybe that's the thing to hold on to about the last true planet, the one on the far shore of the dark. We found it with nothing but numbers and nerve. We have looked at it, up close, exactly once. And it is out there right now, this very second, screaming into the black, keeping every secret it can. We just have to go back and bother to listen.